Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome to this live stream. It's been such a long time since I last did one. I think there's a few of you here already. Thank you very much. Can you let me know if you can hear me? Okay. This is the first time I've used this live stream equipment since I reset my computer, and it's been a right pain setting it back up tonight. So if you can let me know, can you hear me? Can you see me? We are going to be talking about George Harrison's Living in the Material World tonight. No doubt other things as well. But a lot of that depends on you, what things you want to chat about. But I am going to do another World Cup tonight. And appropriately, it's really handily titled. I can call it the Living in the Material World Cup. Which are the favourite songs? Which are the best songs from Living in the Material World? You're going to decide. And we're gonna see how that goes. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going to win here. Often there's a very clear winner in these things. Not so much tonight. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. That's good. I did put a little poll up in the chat before we started. Just a quick question to get us started. Do you think the new Living in the Material World remix is an improvement? Now, so far, 97% of you are saying yes, which... yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because I don't remember hearing such unanimous praise for a remix before. It's probably helped it the fact that this album really needed a remix, and sometimes you don't necessarily know that until you hear the new version. But it's like blankets been lifted off the speakers. There's some of the Nicky Hopkins piano just really shines. The drums sound like drums. The toms and the snares sound like toms and snares. George sounds fantastic. They've done a really good job with this. Hi David in freezing York. Yes, as you know, I'm just down the road from you, and it's flipping freezing here as well. God, it is cold at the moment. And as I say all that, it's slipped down to 93% saying yes, but still, that's pretty resounding, is that. We're going to kick off that the World Cup in a few minutes' time. We're just going to let a few more people join. But I've got the names of all the songs here in my bowl. We're going to do the draw soon, and completely open draw. You know, we might get two of the big hitters playing each other in the first round. We shall see. So hello everybody. It's cold in Nashville too, says Kevin. Yeah, I bet it can get pretty flipping cold over there. Oh, Matthew, you can't answer the poll because you haven't received your copies yet. I don't understand why. I know there's been some problems with the George Harrison website getting things out on time, and I just don't understand it. Surely it's not unreasonable for companies to know how long things are going to take to post. You've had months to know that this was getting released. Get it sent out in time. It's unbelievable that companies cannot do this. I mentioned in my video last week that I was really baffled as to why from Amazon, I ordered from Amazon Germany. They promised to get me on release day, and they did. Fantastic. Why can't Amazon UK do that? It just boggles the mind. Ian Black says I've bought first UK pressing to compare. Excellent. I mean, the only other vinyl version I've got is the one that's just above my head. You'll see there, which is from the amazing George Harrison vinyl box set, which you can just see a little bit of down there. So I'll have never heard an original pressing of that. It'd be good to see what that sounds like. Are we going to get a meditation mixers version, says Nick? What you mean? A bit like this? You mean? A bit like that? I wouldn't have thought so, but it's one of those albums that would probably lend itself to it, wouldn't it? Yes, there's quite a few of you still waiting for your boxes. That's really annoying, isn't it? Really annoying. Captain Mike, how do? Are you including Deep Blue and Miss Odell in the World Cup? You really like those two gems. They are two gems, and I can exclusively reveal now. No, I'm not including them. I've gone strictly for the 11 album tracks, so they're not there, and I've not included Sail Away Raymond either. I love George's version of Sail Away Raymond. I wonder, did he... I mean, this might be in the book that I haven't had a chance to read yet. Did George always intend to give it to Ringo? Was it a decision? Did he decide not to use it himself and then gave it to Ringo? I don't know. If you know, let us know, because I'm not quite sure on that one. David, you got yours from George's site on release day. Great, okay, so why couldn't they do that for everybody? I don't understand. Yes, Nick, this album is already pretty big on meditation. I think, in terms of the whole sort of George spirituality thing, it's way more even than All Things Must Pass, isn't it? Probably. Overall, I think obviously All Things Must Pass goes quite heavy into that in some places, but not in plenty of others. Ethel the Frog, you got yours from What Records? God, I've not used them for years, but I remember, I think I got the White Album 2018 box set from them. I remember they used to do good service. Matthew says, this is what happens when you live on the other side of the world, Australia. Well, yes, I suppose that's... Yeah, but there's people a lot closer to... Oh, I say home, George's home, a lot closer to the UK and the US and big distribution centres like that still aren't getting them out on time. Anyway, I think we're going to do this World Cup. So for those of you who've never done one of these World Cups before, welcome. Thank you for joining in. You will get much more out of this if you can watch this on something where you can see the chat. So I think, for example, on some tellies you can't do that, but maybe on your phone or a laptop or whatever. I'm going to do a draw, like a knockout style draw, pitting these songs against each other. I'm going to do polls that you're all going to vote on. The winner goes through to the next round, and we are going to see what is going to be crowned the Living in the Material World Cup song of your choice. So this is the bit where we have to scoot through this a little bit. And I'll make it as quick as possible. But let's just get the draw up on screen for you. 1 second. Where is it? There we go. Okay, right. So, here's the maths. We've got 11 songs. We need to whittle them down to 8 for quarterfinalists. So we've got to have 3 matches in a preliminary round to get rid of 3 songs. So... these first 2 I'm going to pick out. These are going to play each other. It's completely random, this. These are going to play each other in a preliminary round. Okay, what have we got? We've got Try Some, Buy Some. And we've got the title track, Living in the Material World. Hopefully you can all see that. So I'm just going to quickly... Try Some, Buy Some and Living in the Material World. We'll play a preliminary round. The winner of that, we're not going to do the round just yet, we'll come on to that. The winner of that is going to play in the quarterfinal. That Is All. Okay, so that goes straight through to quarterfinal. The pressure of trying to get this right without messing this up. We have also got the next one that's through into the quarterfinal is The Light That Has Lighted the World. That'll go there. The Light That's Lighted the World. And I'm going to do 2 more in a preliminary round to play that. If you're watching this on catch-up, you might want to skip through this bit, or some of you might find it quite interesting. Okay, so preliminary round, we've got Be Here Now versus The Day the World Goes Round. Okay, so that's Be Here Now, the day the world gets round. Okay, good. I hope we get to the end of this and we find that we've got the right number of items in here. Okay, this is going into the quarterfinal now. Who can see it? Who can see it? Oops. Helps if you get into the right place. Who can see it? Okie dokie. And this is going to play in the quarterfinal. Don't let me wait too long. Okay. Right, we've got our 3rd and final preliminary round is going to be between... Oh, I've got 2 there, that's good. We have got The Lord Loves the One That Loves the Lord and Give Me Love, Peace on Earth. 2 big spiritual George hitters here. Give me love, give me peace on earth, and what was the other one I said? The Lord loves the one. There's some long song titles on here, isn't there? The Lord loves the one. Right, okay, so that should leave us one. It does. It leaves us one in there. That last preliminary round will play against Sue Me, Sue You Blues. Okay, when we get to that point in the competition. That's the draw done. That's finished. It's over. Right, I just need a little... Cheers, everybody. If you're having a beverage, if you're joining me for a beverage, let me know what you're having. I'm having a little beer. Right, okay. So, before we get on with the first poll, I'm going to end the poll about do you think the New Material World remix is an improvement? 92% of you said yes. Okay, so let's just start. I'm just going to catch up with the chat a little bit. Hi, Beatley Tone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. If the light that lighted the world doesn't win, you're calling in VAR. There's no VAR on this channel. I detest VAR. It's not happening. What have we got? Give me love, give me peace on earth. People are shouting for. Try some buy some on the original is one of your faves, George. I agree with Martin there. Hit the like button, folks. It's free. It is, and it really helps YouTube to sort of suggest to people this is a video worth watching. You might not agree. Right, so is that a craft beer? Says Tobias Winters Bioscope Bibliography. That's a heck of a name. It's a Brewdog Wingman. I'm quite liking these actually. Tino Sugar for Captain Mike. Excellent. Arizona Green Tea. Not had one of them before. Elijah says, what do you think of the US albums box and are you getting it? Okay, I'll quickly cover that. I did pre-order it at a very good price and then I thought, no, don't need it. Cancelled my pre-order. I am not getting it. I have decided. I am unanimous in that decision. I am not getting the US albums box set. We might have a little chat about that later on. That would be good. Spiced rum and coke, Chris. That sounds good. Good to hear you doing well, Beatley Tone. Excellent. Okay, shall we do the first matchup in this World Cup? It is a preliminary round. And it is Try Some Buy Some versus Living in the Material World. So in a moment, I'm going to put up a poll for you to click on which song you want to put into the next round. So which is your favourite, basically. Try Some Buy Some or Living in the Material World. So let me just get a poll ready. I'm not going to type out the whole of these blooming song names because they are so long. Living in the. So Try Some Buy Some or Living in the Material World. You should have your poll through now. So we'll give it a little bit of time, see what the winner is, and we'll put the winner through into the proper first round. Go for it. Well, I see how this is doing. Oh, it's 50-50. It's 50-50, but that's very early days. Oh, it's no longer 50-50. 64% are going for the title track. Yeah, 63. Do you know, actually, it's closer than I thought it might be. Personally, I am the one person in the world, the only person in the world, who's literally not allowed to vote in this poll. So I will only have a casting vote. If something finishes 50-50, I'm going to have the casting vote. But it doesn't look like this one's going to finish 50-50. So we've got 112 people watching. Thank you very much. 52 of you have voted so far. So, come on, there's potential for more votes here. We can get more votes. Remember, if you need to be able to see the chat to be able to vote. So, if you can't, maybe you need to be on a phone or on a laptop or a tablet or something like that. You've probably got a better chance of seeing the chat. I'm not putting up with people pretending to be somebody they're not tonight. I've no doubt there'll be more. I'm just not in the mood for it. So 2/3 of you are voting for living in the material world. How many votes have we had so far? We've had 58 votes. Okay, that's good. I don't think Try Some Buy Some is going to come back from this. So I'm going to end that poll. So roughly 2/3 of you have voted for living in the material world. So we are going to put that through into round 2. First proper round. Okay, we've got a couple more preliminary rounds we're going to do. We're going to do the next one now. Be Here Now versus The Day the World Gets Round. This could be an interesting one. Let's just have a look. I'm getting your poll ready. Oh God, what 2 songs was it again? Be Here Now. The Day the World Gets Round. Okay, you should have your poll through now. Start voting on that. And let's see what wins out of this one. I think, interesting. I know which one I would vote for. But we'll see. We'll see whether I would be disappointed or not. Well, there's people claiming that Try Some Buy Some is a masterpiece, and people not happy that it's gone out, but gone out it has. It's not there anymore. Why has the poll disappeared off your screen? The draw. Let me just go and just have a little look at that. Why can you not see? Oh, I think you can. Right, okay. So, how's this going? Be Here Now. It's getting 3/4 of the vote. I am surprised. It's not what I would have voted for. I've got to say, though, that version that's on disc 2, which is, let's just have a look, take 8 of Be Here Now, which I think was that the lead sort of song that they went with, Plug in the Box. It really is beautiful. And listening to Be Here Now again a lot over the last week, it makes me think it sounds like it could have been on the White Album, in that sort of long spot. It's that kind of thing. So it's doing very well. The Day the World Gets Round is one of my favourite songs on the album. I'm quite disappointed here. Not upset, I'm just disappointed, alright? I think it's a beautiful song and really reminds me of Across the Universe in places. With the strings. It's almost like a carbon copy of the strings on Across the Universe in places. Yes, the XL has gone. The XL should be back now. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Well, this poll is clearly only going in one direction, isn't it? It's no, it's not One Direction we're doing tonight. It's George Harrison, isn't it? But 77% of you have gone for Be Here Now. You can't argue with that, man. As Paul McCartney once said. When did he say that? There's a little quiz question for you. We're putting Be Here Now into the main draw. This is a heavyweight preliminary match now between Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth and The Lord Loves the One. Two of the great songs on the album. Let's get you a poll for that then. This is your third and final preliminary round. Fancy Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth having to go in a preliminary round. It's outrageous. But that's the look of the draw. So we've got Give Me Love, and again I've forgotten what the heck the other one was. The Lord Loves the One that loves the Lord. Okay, should have your poll through now. So we'll have done the preliminary round once we've done this, and we'll be into the quarterfinals already. Danny says, what format of the album is best value for money? Super Deluxe or standard 2 disc? I mean, it really depends, Danny, on what formats you're interested in listening on. I'm one of those people who seems to be in a little bit of a minority that loves the fact that we got everything in one package here, the vinyl and the CDs and the Blu-ray, everything together. And I know a lot of people are unhappy about that. The 2 CD version I think is very good buy. You're only really missing out on Sail Away Raymond, which is a shame. But you can buy, if you really need, if you want to download it, you can listen to it on streaming, But if you want to download, you can get that for, I think, £1.89. You can download that in CD quality. Burn your own disc if you want. You've got a third disc then. You've got more discs than we got in the Super Deluxe box. So, how's the poll going? Oh my goodness me, this is an absolute massacre. Give Me Love is showing no mercy to The Lord Loves the One that loves the Lord. Give Me Love's got 92% of the vote so far. Tone says The Lord Loves the One is your least favourite on the album. That's interesting. I like it because it's it's a lot rockier than you would expect a song of that title to be. And I like Upbeat George. I've always been a big fan of Upbeat George, sort of quieter, more, dare I use the word miserable? Downbeat George is not my favourite so much. But so I like The Lord Loves the One. Good up-tempo song, but it's getting absolutely battered here. Let's put this poll out of its misery. 92% of you have voted for Gimme Love, Gimme Peace on Earth. It's going to do well, I think, is that song in this poll. So, there we go. We have got... Oh, the blooming Excel's disappeared from your screen again, hasn't it? Let's just get that back. Hopefully that's back now. So, here is our actual quarterfinal here. Okay? Some good songs there. Some very good songs there. So should we do our first quarterfinal, which is going to be Living in the Material World versus That Is All. Okay, let me get you a little poll for that. Living in the Material World versus That Is All. Okay. That should be about on your screen by now. Vote away. Tell us what you think. What do you want to put into the semi-final? Vote for your favourite out of these two songs. Living in the Material World and That Is All. David. Hi David, how are you doing? All the music should be on all formats. I personally don't agree with that, David. But it's a fair comment. I think that... This seems to be getting a lot of criticism for the fact that it's missing out one song off the 2 CD set, and that is a shame. But I don't see that that's any different to any other set that you buy. You know, whether for example, with the John Lennon sets, a Paul McCartney archive, they've all got that deluxe version that's sort of maybe around £100 and odd that has got a lot more music on it, and so this seems to be getting a lot of criticism compared to those other box sets, and I'm not really too sure why. But yeah, okay, it is a shame. It might be that it might be that the sales of the Super Deluxe are the thing that make the whole thing able to continue. You know, there might be further box sets off the sales of the Super Deluxe box set. And some of those sales might be because of one song. It's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. There's no perfect answer to this. But they have to put something additional on the Super Deluxe version. In some cases, it's an additional 50, 60 songs. In this case, it's just one. It's a tricky one. Tricky one. Anyway, how's this poll doing? The title track, Living in the Material World, has got 74% of the vote so far. I noticed that this has come out purely coincidentally in the opposite half of the draw to Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. I wouldn't be surprised if we're heading to a big clash in the final there. I'm going to end this poll because 68 of you have voted. Thank you very much. That's half of the people that are watching. So I think there's still scope for more people to vote here. But I'm going to end this poll. Because Living in the Material World's got nearly 3/4. Hi Joe. Joe Mayo's on. How are you doing? Joe says, glad to see you've got the Super Deluxe set. Yeah, I know you've been delayed. Well, you've got yours now, haven't you? But you had an unfortunate delay from the George Harrison website. We were talking about that earlier, about just don't understand the facts, as you can't understand similarly why they just can't get these things to people on time. It's really poor when they don't do that. Yeah, some people still haven't received it. It's a real shame. Living in the Material World is through to the semi-final. So we're going to put that in there. That's in the semi. It's safe. Okay, what we've got next? Our next one, our second quarter-final, is The Light That Has Lighted the World versus Be Here Now. Okay, let me get you a poll for that. The Light That Has Lighted the World versus Be Here Now. Okay, that should be coming through shortly. Should see that now. Let's see how this does. The Light That Has Lighted the World. That's a beautiful song, this. I think the Nicky Hopkins piano on it is amazing. And if any of you know the Bob Dylan album Modern Times, there's a song on there called Working Man's Blues. And that reminds me so much of this song. The piano on this seems like it's been very, very closely copied on Working Man's Blues. But I think it's going to get knocked out here by the looks of it. Be Here Now's on 61%. This one is very difficult, says Nick. I agree. This is Tobias said you thought these two songs were knocked out. No, Be Here Now got through in the qualifier against what did it get through? What did it play? Let's just have a look. Let's just go back. It beat The Day the World Gets Round. There's a lot of songs that start with that's you've got to really think which ones. The Day the World Gets Round, The Light That Has Lighted the World. You've got to really think. Well, I know I do to differentiate between them sometimes. So no, these songs haven't been knocked out yet. Well, one of them is about to be. Probably The Light That Has Lighted the World, I would think. What else have we got? Hi Andrew Galvin, this mix has made me appreciate The Light so much more, but Be Here Now is a full-on classic. Well, okay, the gap's actually narrowed a little bit, but I'm not sure it's gonna catch back up. Okay, what I can tell you is that the mean Mr. Mayo there is not Joe Mayo. It's an imposter, so we won't be seeing them again. That wasn't actually Joe. Like I say, I'm not in the mood tonight. These channels won't be commenting again on my channel. So those of you that are doing it, and I know who it is who's doing it, if you don't want your channels banned, don't be silly. Mark Casserly, hi Andrew, travelled from Ireland and saw Bob Dylan perform at the Royal Albert Hall for 3 nights last week. Fantastic. I had the chance to go and see him at Nottingham a few weeks ago. I ultimately decided against it, but the last couple of tours I've heard really great things about that he's done over here. Matt Gaskell says Nicky Hopkins decorated so many great tracks, Jealous Guy, Angie, The Light, etc. Yeah, his the isolated piano track, I think there's a couple of other things on it, maybe a bit of bass and whatever, of Jealous Guy on the Imagine box set is probably my favourite bonus track on any John Lennon set so far. Really, really good. I think this poll's run its course now, hasn't it? Let's get this poll ended. Be Here Now continues to knock out songs that I would have preferred to go through, but there you go. Be Here Now is through to the semi-final. It has beaten The Light That Has Lighted the World. Okay, so the next one is Who Can See It versus Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. George, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. That was much appreciated. Thank you. Elijah, that's quite a good idea. If I knew it was the real Joe and he was up for it, I would gladly do that. Who Can See It and Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. Right, okay, let's get you another poll. Who Can See It? Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. I'm going to forget the songs again. Who Can See It and Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. I think my mind's going because I still can't remember for sure that that's the two songs. Yeah, that's it. Right, okay, your polls come through for those two. This is your third quarter final. Let's see how this one goes. Andrew Galvin says, sorry if it's been mentioned already, but did you see the Billboard interview with Danny where he laid out the plan for George releases from here? I don't think I have seen that. I've seen and heard a few Danny interviews where he's talked about Peter Jackson working on the concert for Bangladesh, and I know he's made reference in the past to the fact that they're hopefully working on Cloud9, but no, I haven't seen that. I'm going to have to look. I'm going to have a look at for that. Is that on YouTube? Spring Heel Jim, thank you very much. That's a very, very specific amount there, but thank you. I much appreciate that. Hopefully a new Dylan album coming in 2025, says Mark. Did you hear that the bootleg series coming out next year will be The Villager, showcasing Dylan's earliest home recordings, studio and live performs? Again, I haven't heard that. I'm a bit out of touch just at the moment with a few things. That's the big one that I really wanted. Something, I know we've had a few bootleg series that cover that period, but we know there's so much more. I've got a bootleg album called something like Almost Went to See Elvis that I think's got a lot of stuff from around that period on. I'm gonna have to look into that. That'll be great. How's this poll going anyway? Don't Let Me Wait Too Long has got 77%. Yeah, I think this is justified. Don't Let Me Wait Too Long is a lovely song. I think George sings it really nicely as well. Cheers again, everybody. Jonathan says, Who Can See It? Great song. Yeah, it's lovely, but it ain't going any further in this poll by the looks of it. George, an album you enjoy was the George Fest tribute concert a few years ago. Do you mean is that the concert for George one at Royal Albert Hall? Is that the one that you mean? If so, yes, I absolutely agree. Matt says, any news on a new McCartney album or Rubber Soul box set? The only bit of news really, I think, on the McCartney one is that Paul himself said that he's recorded I think he didn't refer to it as an album. He said he's recorded some new songs, and he said he was going to be mixing it once he's finished touring. So hopefully that means that if his tour finishes in December, he can have Christmas off, back to work in January, getting the new album finished off. Hopefully, haven't heard anything more on Rubber Soul yet. We'll see what happens. Right, I'm going to end this poll. Don't Let Me Wait Too Long has clearly won that one, 79%. Mark says, will you watch the upcoming Dylan movie starring Timothy Chalamet? Yeah, I think coming out in January. I think I saw that it's coming out on Boxing Day. Maybe that's just in the UK, I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go and see that. I will go and see that. If it does come out on Boxing Day, I will go and see it between Boxing Day and New Year, definitely. Quite looking forward to that. Right, so Don't Let Me Wait Too Long. I think there's the XL disappeared off your screen again. Don't know why it does that. Let's just see if we can... I think it should be back now. It should be back now. Panic over, folks. Panic over. No, George Fest is different. You're going to have to remind me on that one. It's too much to take in sometimes. Spring Eel Jim says, Andrew, do you know the band Door 66? No. No, I've never heard of that. I have nothing to add on that one because I've not heard of them. Right, so what is our last quarter-final. It's going to be Gimme Love, Gimme Peace on Earth versus Sue Me, Sue You Blues. Okay, so let's get you a poll for that. Let's get you a poll. We've got Give Me Love. You should be able to see that poll through now. Okay, let's see how this one goes. I think Sue Me, Sue You Blues, the version that's on the second disc, Take 5 on disc 2, is probably my favourite song of all those alternate takes and alternate versions. I think there's a sort of real urgency to the guitar playing and the slide guitar, and some of the drums, I presume it's Jim Keltner on drums on that song, just some sort of really intricate playing, and I really love that version of Sue Me, Sue You Blues. Sounds fantastic. George Fest was in California with Conan O'Brien. Do you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I think that's passed me by completely. I don't remember that at all. So Andrew says, "Oh, hang on. There's a lot of chat coming through, which is great, but I just started reading a comment and it disappeared off my screen." Andrew says, "Danny said they're going in release order with the studio albums, so next 3 will be Bangladesh, then Dark Horse, and they're working on the 74 tour. Fantastic." I mean, could it be that the George camp actually do the one thing that the Lennon and McCartney camps have done? The Lennon and McCartney camps, we've got gaps, haven't we? You know, with Lennon, we've got the Sometime in New York City, which I still hope will happen. I hope they can find a way to make that happen. McCartney, of course, has holes all over the place, specifically, most notably, those 2 at the end of the 70s. But if they do that for George, then, you know, there'll still be further things to come chronologically, but there won't be gaps, or nothing noticeable I can think of anyway. That's assuming they're not going to do deluxe versions of Electronic Sounds and Wonderwall music. I don't see any way that that's going to happen. September 2014, George Fest. I must have been asleep. I must have been asleep when that happened, because I don't remember that at all. Whoopie-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's Scott Andrew Brass says Timothy Chalamet is possibly the ponziest name ever. It's up there with Julian Pettifer. Well, I raise you Benedict Cumberbatch for definite. How's this poll going anyway? Give Me Love's got 79%. Okay, no surprise there. Sue Me, Sue You Blues is a good song. I think it's not a perfect song. It's sort of, for me, it goes a little bit slow in places, but I like the good parts of it. It's no surprise that Gimme Love, Gimme Peace on Earth is whacking it over the head with a big crowbar, really. Beatley Tone says, Don't Let Me Wait Too Long should be fans' theme song addressed to George Harrison store regarding deliveries. Well, yes, absolutely. I agree there. Yeah, it really doesn't make much sense. Dinner with Greedo. Thank you very much. People, if you haven't checked out Dinner with Greedo's channel, after this is finished, then Dinner with Greedo. Go and check out his channel. Because he makes a lot of good videos. Thank you very much for that, Dinner with Greedo. Do you think they'll remix all McCartney albums? I've noticed compared to the Lennon-Harrison remixes, McCartney's songs are quieter. It's a weird thing, is the McCartney thing, isn't it, with remixes? I did a video about this about, I don't know, it must have been over a year ago now, about where could they go with the Paul McCartney archive collection next, because I think because he started first, those that came later were able to do it in a slightly more modern way, as in remixes rather than remasters. So the only road really that Paul's gone down with the remixes is these like the spatial audio mixes that have been coming out with at the same time as the half-speed remasters, which obviously don't get a lot of publicity. I know there was the remix for Tug of War, but that was a different circumstance. So really, in terms of the big box set releases, Paul McCartney, of course, hasn't done remixes yet. And it now feels like he's been left behind a little bit. So will he change tack and go to remixes? It's a difficult thing because he's caught in a difficult place with already having done a load of those archive collections as remasters. It's an intriguing one. I mean, I'm sure eventually they will remix all of them, but whether they will switch from remixes to remixes from remasters, it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm not really sure how that would go. Let's end this poll anyway, because Give Me Love has obviously waltzed into the semi-finals. So let's have a look at our semi-final lineup. If I can just, if my mouse control is good enough. Our semi-final lineup is this: Living in the Material World versus Be Here Now. And then Don't Let Me Wait Too Long versus Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. Interesting. Yeah, 4 very good songs there. I would have voted in other ways with regards to Be Here Now. As lovely as a song as it is, it came up against 2 that I just prefer a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think there's any major surprises there, is there, so far? So we'll come to the semi-finals shortly. I just want to catch up on the chat a little bit. So let's come back to the World Cup very soon. Paula, hi Paula. There is a really great version of Wah Wah by the lead guitarist of The Strokes at George Fest. He's also on. He's on Ringo's last EP, isn't he? I'm trying to remember his name now. His name escapes me, but he plays some good guitar on Ringo's last EP. There's a double LP of the George Fest live show in Hollywood. Says, oh hi, it's Mazzy. Hi Mazzy, how are you doing? I didn't see you there. It's pretty good. Yeah, I don't understand why this has bypassed me at all. Derek says, how about a Wonderwall movie 4K and Blu-ray complete with soundtrack CD? Does anybody need that? Wow. I've got it on. It's down there on DVD. Is the movie, and I've still not watched it. I did recently rip the audio of it because I've got quite a few songs from the soundtrack as like bonus tracks to the Wonderwall music album, and I needed them in better quality. So, but it's. I mean, even I've not seen the film, and even I know it's hard work to watch. I do need to get around to watching it. Like I say, I've got it on DVD there. What's David saying? Andrew, you should do a World Cup of the Beatles' non-music albums, such as Two Virgins, Electronic Sounds, Life of the Lions. Yeah. So what else would? Well, obviously there'd be those 3. There would be. Would we include? It's probably a bit harsh to say. I think for Paul McCartney, you'd have the Liverpool Sound Collage album. I don't think you'd extend it to the Fireman albums. They probably just escaped that tag. Yeah, Electronic Sounds definitely. It's that's hard work. Is that album, isn't it? Ringo wouldn't have anything in there. Or some people might argue that every one of Ringo's albums should be in there, but I wouldn't suggest such a thing. That would be very harsh. I wouldn't want to have to go and listen to them all as research for the World Cup, though. I mean, I've got them all, obviously, but they're blooming heck, they're hard work. They really are. I'm just going to go towards the end of the chat. If you've missed out yours and you want to ask it again, please do so. Ruben J, hello. Giles Atmos remixes are nothing extraordinary at all, but Band on the Run is a stellar improvement to the original. That's interesting, because I remember when the half speed of Band on the Run came out earlier this year, I was obviously re-listening to it again, and I'm thinking, do you know, if there's one Paul McCartney album that really doesn't need a remix, it's Band on the Run, because it sounds superb as it is. But you're saying there it's a massive improvement, so you know, maybe I don't have the capability to listen to Atmos, so Maybe I will one day. We'll see. Hi Declan. Declan says, hi Andrew, hope you enjoyed your trip to Scotland. Yes, I did very much, thank you. I always enjoy trips to Scotland, always. So Bob Dylan in Edinburgh a couple of weeks ago. He was terrific. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, could you tell what songs he was singing until several minutes in? I remember that was my big takeaway from the one time I did see Bob Dylan. You know, you'd be listening to a song for about 6 minutes, not knowing what the heck it is. And then you go, oh, yeah, this is like a Rolling Stone. Because he'd just changed it up so much that that you just wouldn't know what the heck he was doing. Beatley Tone says, if you do a World Cup of the Wedding album, you'll be washing your hair. I haven't got any more that night. I'm glad you said that, Tone. Otherwise, I was going to make a joke about the fact that, you know, it ain't going to take long to wash your hair, is it? But I'm glad you can laugh about that. Will the rest of George's 70s output be commercial enough for the box set treatment, says Matt. It's a very interesting question. The fact that this deluxe box set seems to be already, I wouldn't say impossible, but not so easy to find, suggests that hopefully they're making enough money to warrant making more of them. Declan, you said you had no clue what All Along the Watchtower was at first. I'm not surprised, to be honest. Not surprised at all. Danny says the Revolver remix is great apart from the cymbals being turned down and She Said madness. I don't know what possessed them. The She Said is the one remix on that album that it's the most divisive, isn't it? It seems to have lost a lot. Sometimes things can be a little bit too clean, which is probably what's happened there. Visiting Banana and Zombie. Visiting Manchester and Liverpool in December for McCartney. Excellent. Enjoy. Do you have any good tips? Well, not so much for Manchester, because I've very rarely been to Manchester in my life, even though I don't live far away from it. Liverpool, just spend as much time as you can in Liverpool and do things like, if you can get to the Casbah, go to the Casbah. If you can do the John and Paul National Trust Homes Tour, that's just phenomenal. Just soak up the atmosphere. It's brilliant. I love it. Natalie says, have you seen Paul's Farm in Scotland? I haven't. I have driven as close as you can drive to it on a public road. Went to Campbelltown a few years ago with my dad, and I'd sussed out on a map where the nearest road was, and really you drive along the road and you can just see a hill there, and it's somewhere over that hill, so I've been close to it. Right, I'll tell you what, let's get back to this World Cup, shall we? The task in hand, it's our first semi-final, which is going to be Living in the Material World versus Be Here Now. So the title track versus Be Here Now. So I'm going to get you a poll, and we'll see how this one goes. This could be intriguing. I'm not quite sure how this one's going to go. Okay, you should see your poll now. That should be through. Living in the Material World or Be Here Now. Which do you want to put into the final? The responsibility weighs on your shoulders, folks. Kevin says, what is where the original Cavern Club was? Well, it's essentially, give or take a few yards, I suppose. The cavern, the rebuilt Cavern Club is there. David says, wonder if Ringo is ever going to join the box set fray. I saw a good point that somebody made a couple of days ago. I can't remember who it was now. The fact that I'm the Greatest, John Lennon's version, has appeared on Mind Games this year, and that Sail Away Raymond has appeared now on this box set, suggests that Ringo isn't planning to use them for a Ringo box set, which I thought was a good point. Such a shame. I don't understand it. I mean, obviously, the vast majority of Ringo albums, it's probably not viable to do it, but at least the Ringo album, it's got to be worth doing. Ringo just doesn't seem to be interested for whatever reason. Derek says, Andrew, did you ever compare Venus and Mars to Wings Over America as far as sound is concerned? I mean, I've never listened to them specifically with that purpose in mind, but obviously I've listened to both of them however many countless times you could imagine. Venus and Mars, if a Paul McCartney album needs a remix, it's Venus and Mars. Because it's another one of those that's got a blanket over the speakers. Assuming that that's not in the actual recorded multi-tracks, if that was something that happened during mixing. I mean, we've seen with Mind Games was never a good sounding album, but we know now that it was incredibly well recorded, and that's come out now in the remix and in the session tracks that we've heard. It was phenomenally well recorded. Hopefully Venus and Mars was the same and just something went a bit weird in the mixing. We'll see. We've got a close vote here, folks. It's actually not quite as close as it was, but at the moment, Living in the Material World has got 53%, Be Here Now 47%. So I'm just going to let this one run a little bit longer. Half of the people who are watching have voted, which is brilliant, thank you, but I think we can get more. We can get more votes here. It's now down to 52-48. What could go wrong with a 52 to 48% vote? I wonder. 53-47. It's really close. So yeah, I'm going to let this run a little bit longer. I've just caught the end of something that's obviously been going on previously, but E. Anthony says, lucky to meet James McCartney and Stella there. That's interesting. You've met those. That's great. Ringo could just do a box of all unreleased material covering his entire career, says David Locke. I'd be well up for that. That would be great. I bet there'd be some crud on it. I bet there would. Dinner with Greedo. I wish McCartney would sing some Lennon songs live. I know he's sung a couple and he's currently singing now and then, but I'd like to hear more Lennon Beatles songs because who else would or can do them? Have you got any suggestions for which ones you'd like to hear? I mean, I'd like to see, and I don't think he'd want to, but I'd like to see Sean Lennon do a bit more of that. I mean, obviously the thing there is that Sean's voice is a very different voice to John's. Compared to, for example, Julian, who sounded quite a lot like John. I'm going to close this poll in about 30 seconds. We've had an excellent 83 votes. Thank you, everybody who's voted. It's looking unlikely that Be Here Now is going to catch this up. I'm going to give it another 20 seconds, and I'm going to close this poll. Matt says, wish McCartney would play songs he hasn't done before. No More Lonely Nights, for example. Yeah, he's never done that. He's never done Pipes of Peace, has he, either? I wonder now, what songs could his voice do now? They would have to be chosen very carefully for his voice. Okay, I'm ending the poll. We've had our first relatively close vote in the first semi-final, but Living in the Material World got 54% of the vote, and it is in to the final. But who will it face? Only you can decide. Was that dramatic enough? Don't Let Me Wait Too Long versus Gimme Love, Gimme Peace on Earth is going to be your second semi-final. And we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna get that one running for you in a moment. You should be seeing that come through very shortly. Don't let me wait too long. Okay, get voting, folks. This is the second semi-final. Don't Let Me Wait Too Long versus Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. For the right to play the title track, Living in the Material World, in the final of the Living in the Material World Cup. Who's it going to be? This should be interesting. Dinner with Greedo, stuff like Nowhere Man, Girl, I Am the Walrus. Yeah, I Am the Walrus could be interesting, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if he decides to go down that route, he's got another 40 years worth of material that he can pull out there, hasn't he? Do you think Paul could do a duet with Julian at some point? Says spam, 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 spam. Maybe. I don't know whether either of them would ultimately agree to it, but it'd be nice to see them do something on record in the studio, like maybe Julian guesting on Paul's album, Paul playing bass on a couple of songs on a Julian album. That would be nice to see. And we know they get on well. There was that nice incident, wasn't there? Was it a couple of years ago now, where they just happened to bump into each other at the airport? E. Anthony says, who's going to see Paul in December? Not me. Not me, unless a ticket crops up. It does seem like more tickets are starting to become available now, as people maybe realise that they can pay for Christmas if they get rid of those McCartney tickets that they've bought. I've definitely noticed in the last 2 or 3 days tickets starting to become available for resale through the legitimate channels. So, you know, I'm even tempted, if I don't have a ticket for Manchester on the 14th or 15th on that Saturday, I might just go to Manchester and just see if I can get something there. I may well do that. If any of you are going to Manchester over that weekend and you find you have a spare ticket, let me know. I may well buy it off you. So how's this poll going? Give Me Love has got 71%. There's no surprise here. I think that was always likely to win this poll. So that's going through into the final by the looks of it. Paul singing Imagine, says Anthony. That would have jaws on the floor. Has Paul ever... Paul's never sung Imagine, has he? I was just thinking back then to Liverpool 1990 when he did the medley of, what was it? Help, Strawberry Fields, Give Peace a Chance. No, there's no Imagine in there, was there? Christmas is banned, keep out of Leeds. What's that relating to Tobias? What have I missed something? With Ringo, we're lucky just to get a full album over an EP, says Station Minute. He's never going to approve a box set. It does seem that way, and I still don't quite understand why. Strange. Yeah, lots of resale popping up. There definitely is. But I've got an email alert. Whenever I get the email, I click on it, and it says these tickets have gone. People keep beating me to it, but I keep thinking, well, those people are out the way now. They've got their tickets. I'm not competing with those people anymore. I'm only going to be competing with the slower people now who didn't jump in. So I'm hopeful that something will crop up. Where is the London Town Deluxe box? Answers on a postcard to that one. Who knows what on earth is happening with that? Dare I say, hopefully next year. I mean, surely the focus from Paul mainly is going to be on his new studio album. Wiggy Monster, you're surprised Sean hasn't released a proper solo album after Friendly Fire. That album had some great tunes on it. It really did. Yeah, you've mentioned Spectacle Headlights. There's Could I Be the One at the end of the album is fantastic. It's actually a cover of a T-Rex song, that, isn't it? I listened to the T-Rex version, which I thought didn't impress me at all. Sean did a fantastic version of that. Dead Meat as well on that album. It's a great album. I had that in my top 10 albums of that decade. Asterisms that he released a few months ago is very good. Very different to that. It's almost like a Paul McCartney Fireman album, but very, very good. Alright, I'm going to end this poll. Give Me Love is in the final. Let's make that official. There we go. So the final is going to be Living in the Material World versus Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. I'm glad that those two ended up in opposite halves of the draw, because I think that means we've probably got the best final that we could have had, I would say. Twickets, they are face value. I think there's just a little bit of commission on top, isn't there? Which is, it's fair enough. But I would much rather do that than suffer. What's happening with Oasis? 50,000 Oasis tickets being cancelled. Sorry, shouldn't laugh really, but I did laugh at that. Back to the Egg box set in 2029. Yeah, will they actually go to 50th anniversaries for that? But why do they want to wait so long to almost quote a George Harrison song from this album? I don't know. It's strange. JHP thinks it's going to penalty shootouts. We'll see. Remember, if it does end up a tie, which is unlikely, but if it does, I'm getting the casting vote. I would love, for once, can I have a flipping casting vote? Come on. I want to vote on one of these things. Elijah, you used Twickets recently. It's good. Yeah, I think I tried to sell some Peter Kay. I had a spare Peter Kay ticket and I was trying to sell it. I actually didn't get a buyer for it. I was sat in my seat with this. I'd only put the seat up for sale a few hours earlier, hoping that I would have to go outside to let somebody in, but nobody actually bought it in the end. Joe, I'm looking forward to the Dark Horse Tour 74, says 13th Beatle. The video will look and sound fantastic. I really hope so. Because I suspect, like a lot of people, I've seen very little of that 74 tour because there's been so little released. I've only ever seen little bits here and there. So anyway, let's get the final underway. Living in the Material World versus Gimme Love. This is the grand final, folks. You don't need to disappear afterwards. I'll stick around for a bit after we've done this final, and we can have a bit of a free-for-all, whatever you want to chat about. But we've got Living in the... As soon as it's the final, we'll type it out in full. Oh, God, I've got to type the other one out in full now as well. I've backed myself into a corner there. Why does he have to have such long blooming song titles on this album? Okay, so vote now. Oh, it won't even let me type the whole. It won't let me type the whole song title of "Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth" because it's too many characters. So we're going with "Give Me Peace on Ear" because that's all it'll let me type. In other words, don't give me any earache. This is the final. It's 50-50. It's 60-40. It's 75-25. It's all change. It's all one way, isn't it, really? Okay. What you're actually saying here with this, the fact that "Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth" looks like it's going to win this, you're actually saying to me that after the start of the album, after the first song, it was downhill all the way, is what you're telling me, really, isn't it? Paulie, your dad went to the 74 tour at Madison Square Garden. Fantastic. Excellent. The Dark Horse Tour was dogged by George's bad throat. It was, yes, and I don't think there's going to be any hiding that. I would hate it if there was so much processing on George's voice in whatever we get for that tour to try and mask it. We know anybody who's deep enough into George Harrison to want to buy a 1974 tour knows that he was having issues. It's not going to come as a surprise to these people. Don't try and mask it. Tim, hi Tim, you're looking forward to the Bangladesh box if it appears. Some great Dylan on that release, and you love the Indian music at the start. Yeah, I've got the... I'm looking forward to getting a really good copy of that because what I've got... It's too far for me to reach. But I've got that DVD from about 2005 that I've done a lossless rip of the audio. And that's my version of the album to go to. So I'm not sure whether there'd be what massive differences there might be between that and the actual album itself, but I will enjoy finding out. Matthew says, due to Flaming Pie Archive Collection vinyl being half-speed master, only common sense tells me that London Town and Back to the Egg archives will also have half-speed masters vinyl. I'm sure, yeah. I really hope that half-speed series continues and doesn't just quietly die out like a lot of collections seem to do. I really hope that continues. That would be really good. How's this poll doing? 65% for Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. How are we doing for votes? How many people have voted on this? 83 votes. That's very good, thank you. But I think we can do a little bit better. I think we can get a few more votes through. Oh, Ruben J, absolutely. We really need a good Magical Mystery Tour Blu-ray. The 2012 one has such bad video quality. Genuinely the worst looking Blu-ray I own. Oh, okay. More of an excuse of a super deluxe of that album. Yeah, I was talking about gaps before, wasn't I? About the fact that, maybe George's team aren't going to leave gaps that the Lennon camp have left, that the McCartney camp have left, and certainly the Beatles camp have left. And the big glaring gap at the moment, in terms of from what we have had through to the end, is that whole period sort of after Pepper and before the White Album. I think there could be a really fascinating box set there. How will they do it is, will they think that Magical Mystery Tour on its own justifies a box set? I hope so. Will they combine it with Yellow Submarine? Will they do some sort of psychedelia box set that covers that time period? So includes some Yellow Submarine stuff. Be interesting to find out. Again, I'm a little less desperate for it than I was, because on that 2012 Blu-ray there is a lot of good extras, which again I've managed to get lossless rips of the audio. So things like Shirley's Wild Accordion and Nat's Dream and all that kind of stuff. I've got that in great quality now. What I've had to do, which is really annoying, is make my own version of the proper opening sequence, the opening film, which should have the John Lennon spoken intro at the beginning and needs the when a man buys a ticket part in the middle. So I've had to sort of cobble together a few different versions that I've got to make a version that's proper to what was in the original film, because that 2012 version, it's not the proper version of the song for the film anyway. It's a shame. I'm going to end this poll anyway, because, drumroll, I can declare, ladies and gentlemen, that the winner of the Living in the Material World Cup is Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. It's your champion. Let's just make it official. There you go. That's the winner. It's the winner. With out of 91 votes, it got 63% of the vote. So what's that? It probably got about 60 votes, roughly. So yeah, that's. I don't think it's a surprising winner. I think the right two songs were in the final, personally. Let's hide that Excel now. You don't need to see that anymore. So yeah, very good. Thank you for that. I'm not going anywhere just yet, as I say. So if anybody wants to get in on the chat, let's concentrate on the chat for a little while. So send stuff through if you want to do. Paula's shocked and stunned. Very stunned. Are you not happy, Paula, with that? What have we got? George says George was annoyed when record company asked him to record better tracks for some albums as they were not confident of commercial success. Yeah, I think the main one on that was, let me get me, Somewhere in England up there. That was one that had to be sort of quite radically changed, wasn't it? I must say I prefer that album cover to that other one where George looks like a map of the UK. Very odd. I do prefer that. Weirdly, I think I've mentioned this before, but nobody will ever remember. That there, Living in the Material World, not that copy, because that's my copy. That was the only Beatles solo album that was in my house growing up. As in my mum and dad, who were big Beatles fans. That was the only Beatles solo album that they had between them. You wouldn't guess that would be the one. Beatley Tone demands a recount. Well, there's going to be no recount. Beatley Tone. It's quite clear. The people have spoken. And that's what they've said. Kevin says, was it big news at the time when the original Cavern Club was torn down? Do you remember it, or were you too young? I was too young. Because I think it was was it in the like early 70s or mid 70s or something like that. There might be somebody from Liverpool around who can tell us exactly. Who can certainly expand on it more than I can, but I don't think there was a huge fuss. It was basically Liverpool Council, very short-sighted, didn't at the time realise what the Beatles tourism trade could be, and because it wasn't really a thing back then. I mean, I remember, for example, when the first time I went to Abbey Road, there wasn't really anybody else around. You go now and it's just a nightmare. It's just constantly people running in the road to take a photograph of the mate, and it must be horrible for anybody who has to drive around there. So Beatles tourism wasn't really a thing then. Martin says, what about the US albums? You said you would talk about your decision. Yes, okay. I have come to the same conclusion. I did not need them, as I have the UK ones, which the Beatles themselves signed off. Okay. So yeah, like I said, I did have it on pre-order at a very good price. It was going to work out. I think I'd ordered it from Amazon Germany, and it was going to come to about £160, which I thought was a really good price. But then I just thought, no, I really don't need it. I've got down here. I've got. I'll tell you what. I'll see if I can just move my camera around a little bit, just get you some different views. So I've got, for example, down there. You will see there's the Beatles in mono box set. I've got that. You're not getting any better than that. Certainly not in a US albums thing. I've got, if I just go over there, I don't know whether you can see. You can see above the George box, sort of 2/3 of the way along, there's the two Capitol Albums CD box sets. I've got those. And I just thought, well, I've got those. I never listen to them because they're horrible to listen to. Sorry, any Americans who grew up with those albums, but they're horrible to listen to. And I thought, why am I buying this? I don't need it. I'd just be buying it for the sake of buying it, and that's got to stop. So I cancelled my order. No regrets. I'll listen to better versions of the albums, because I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any American album that compares with the UK version, or nearest equivalent, and I'm including Rubber Soul in that, which is, I know, the one that everybody loves who grew up with it, and I understand why they love it, but it still ain't as good as the UK version. Spring Hill Jim says, Andrew, who was the fifth Beatle? This is a can of worms, this. Stuart Sutcliffe, Brian Epstein, or George Martin? Well, or Pete Best. Well, they all were, in different ways. They absolutely all were. Without George Martin, I mean, it's hard to fathom what they would have been without George Martin. They would have been very, very good still, but there would have been a level of genius at the top that just wouldn't have been able to come through. Without Brian, it would have never happened. For all his faults, he was so dedicated to them. The one guy who never gets any credit, and I'm not suggesting he's a fifth Beatle, because he isn't. This would be nonsense. But the person who never gets any credit, apart from in Mark Lewison's Tune In book, is a guy called Kim Bennett, and I think his story needs to be heard louder. About he had no real reason to need the Beatles to be successful, but he pushed them so hard in those early days to get them off the ground, and I think he needs more credit. But who of those people are the fifth Beatles? I think they all are, in different ways, all of them. Mal Evans. Yeah, Mal. What would they be without Mal? Dear old Mal. JHP says, thank God in Argentina they kept the UK versions. Oh, that's good. I can't claim to be any kind of expert on what was released in Argentina, so it's good to know they stuck with the proper versions. Yeah, Neil Aspinall as well, of course. The man just dedicated his life to them, didn't he? Oh God, can you imagine if you'd have told him in 1962 that he would be with them almost for life, and what that job would entail. Incredible. Pete Best, 1,000 shows in the band, no competition. Yeah. Pete has to be one of those. Fifth Beatle is not exclusive to one person in my book. Pete is absolutely one of those people who deserves the title. George Martin made Peter Sellers and Bernard Cribbins sound great, both legends. Right, said Fred, we'll have a cup of tea. Yeah, it was amazing the trajectory that his career went on, isn't it? With all those comedy records with the Goons and, like you say, Cribbins and that. Yeah, if you'd have told him that he would be making the most progressive and successful pop music just a few years down the line, I don't think he'd have quite seen the route that could be taken to come to that outcome. Yeah, but good Fifth Beatle discussion there. Derek says you always pictured Denny Laine as a potential Fifth Beatle just because what he did with Paul in Wings. It was definitely the third wing, wasn't he? Dinner with Greedo. Have you had a pay rise? This is very generous of you. That's second time tonight, isn't it? Thank you. Apple. Well, let's talk about this. Apple should repurpose the Butcher cover. This is worthy of. Apple should repurpose the Butcher cover. Paul McCartney's never going to agree to that, though, is he? And I think has Ringo gone down that route as well? I'm not sure. As much as I'd love to see the Butcher cover get a proper release, but it seems hard to see Paul McCartney sanctioning that. And again, I've said this before. I often think that when people talk about sort of like Paul McCartney things that he could release, people say, "Oh, get the Cold Cuts album out." And again, as innocuous as it might seem, I think I can't help thinking that would Paul McCartney now release an album with a title that basically refers to slices of meat? As daft as it sounds, again, I can't see him going for it. Would we? I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a poll on that, on the Butcher cover. I'm going to do a poll, see what you think. Would you like an official release of the Butcher cover? Okay, let's just have your yes or no's on this. Let me know. Not that I think it will happen for the reasons I've said, but would we actually like it? I'd certainly like it. I'd vote yes in this poll. George says no one's mentioned Gon Troppo. I quite like Gon Troppo. I mean, I must admit, it's probably a year or more since I last listened to it, and I'm struggling to remember what songs are on it at the moment. But I remember that I quite enjoy it. In fact, I'm going to look up Gon Troppo track lists just so I can remind myself what's on it. What have we got on Gon Troppo? Wake Up My Love, yeah, which I knew originally from that Best of Dark Horse CD. Oh God, I love that CD. That's The Way It Goes again, which is on that Best of Dark Horse. It's I Really Love You. I tell you what, that is a great 3 opening songs. It's a really good 3 opening songs there. Then of course Gon Troppo. And to be honest, I'm struggling to remember how some of the other songs go. Circles, of course, has got the Beatles connection to it, hasn't it? So obviously remember that one well. But some of the others, I'm forgetting now how they go. I would have to re-listen to it. How's this poll going anyway? Would we like to see a official release of the Butcher cover? I thought we might have seen more yeses than that. 54% of you say yes. Not as much love for the Butcher cover as I thought there might have been. Excuse me. So yeah, I think definitely that is an album that starts off brilliantly, even if I don't remember as much of it that goes on afterwards. Yeah, Best of Dark Horse. That was my that was the first. Was it the first George Harrison CD I bought? I think it might have been. I think that and All Things Must Pass I bought at about the same time in 1990. And it's still got what I would consider to be a contender for my favourite George Harrison solo song, Cheer Down, on that. Absolutely fantastic song. Goes back to what I was saying earlier on in this live stream about the fact that Happy George, Upbeat George, I'm always going to prefer to Downbeat George. I adore Cheer Down. Fantastic song. Thank you, Tyrone. Appreciate that. Thank you. Gontroppo was such a drudge. I mean, yeah, but I'm defending those first three songs, definitely. And the title track. Phil, yeah, Paul has hours of soundcheck music he could release. Definitely. I mean, I think a lot of his soundchecks get professionally recorded, and he does other stuff that you just don't hear. One of the ones that I really like from around the 2002 tour was India. That was really good, and I don't think he's ever done that properly live in front of an audience. But it was a bit of a soundcheck favourite of his at the time. I'd love to see him do something with that song. Gontroppo Artwork, says George, had a paragraph on mixing cement. I always wonder about, I think Gontroppo looks very similar to, can I easily get at, what album am I going to say looks very similar to Gontroppo in terms of its cover. I'm just going to pull it out here. Egypt Station. I think I think there's a lot of similarities between Gontroppo and that album cover. I'm not quite sure why. Oh yes, I know why. That's just reminded me. Last week I was down in London, and I went to Soho Square to Paul's MPL office, and stood outside. I knew he wasn't going to be there because it was in between. He was playing shows in Mexico the night before and the night after, so he was obviously never going to be there. But I thought I'll go down. I was just round the corner, so I thought I'll go and have a look. And the only other time I've been there was on a Saturday. It was shut and the curtains were closed, so you couldn't see anything inside. But this time the office was open. There was a lady sat at the reception desk. There was a couple of people coming and going. And there's some great artwork inside the main lobby of the office. It's got the painting, the background of the Tug of War album cover, the red and blue squares. Now, whether the album cover was based on that painting or that painting was made to celebrate the album cover, I don't know. But that's there up the stairs, as well as a big white painting. It's almost, from some angles, it's just plain white. Then at other angles, you can see the chair from the cover of Memory Almost Full on there. So that was really interesting. And on the other side, on the right-hand side, as you look at it, there's a big painting, must be about 8-10 foot tall. A big painting of a Helter Skelter, and it says Helter at the top, Skelter at the bottom, and it's got Paul in his I Am the Walrus mask stood next to this Helter Skelter. So I'd not seen those before, so that was quite interesting to see. I'll end that poll now. 58% of you would like to see an official release of the Butcher cover. Not as many. It's not as high as I was expecting, to be honest. A lot of people said. I presume you said Egypt Station before I held up the Egypt Station. Oh, thank you, George. That's very kind of you. That's twice for you tonight as well, isn't it? Goodness me. Thank you. We need a proper official Beatles live album. There must be more than Hollywood Bowl. Yeah. I mean, what would the main contenders be? Like I said, there's a lot of professionally recorded stuff. I wish there'd been a better release of the Japan 1966 stuff than that awful set that came out 2 or 3 years ago, which I ended up sending back because I was just so disgusted with it. It was terrible. But yeah, maybe Shea Stadium. That would be an iconic one, wouldn't it? To release. It's just a shame that there's no sort of great full concerts from Cavern era. I suppose live in Star Club Hamburg is, if anything's going to get released, that seems the most likely, because we know that something is happening with that. Even if it's not official via the Beatles, we know that Peter Jackson is going to create a version of it to present to Apple. We know that he's going to say, because he owns the tapes. A lot of you will know this, but just in case anybody doesn't know this who's on, Peter Jackson has bought the actual tape, the original tape of the Star Club, and he's using his MAL technology that was used for Get Back to try and make it sound good. He's doing it as his own project, just in his own time, but he says that when he's done it, if he thinks it's a good result, he's going to present it to Apple and say, here's what I've been able to do. Are you interested in doing anything with it? They might say, no, get lost. They might have already tipped him the little nod to say, well, if you can make something really good out of this, we're interested. Otherwise it's a complete waste of his time, isn't it? So it would be interesting to see that could be the main one that they do. Can they use MAL on Shea Stadium, says Elijah? Well, presumably you can use it on pretty much anything now. I know Giles Martin said that back when they did the Hollywood Bowl album, was it 8 or 9 years ago, they were able to do it to an extent, but I'm pretty sure he said they could do it a lot better now than they could do that then. So yeah, I guess you could apply it to Shea Stadium or anything where there's audience noise in the background. Anthony says there's the live tape from '63. Yes, Stowe School, recorded in a boys' school. I keep meaning to go to the British Library. There's a branch, if that's the right word. There's a branch of it up north that I could go to, where you can go and listen to that. Although, to be honest, I've got a bootleg of it anyway, so maybe I don't need to do that. Harry says, cheer down, you're sure this is about Paul? Interesting. I'll have to have a listen with that in mind and see what we think. Does Billy J. Kramer belong in the Liverpool Hall of Fame? Not really. Well, maybe just about. Are the NME poll winners concerts as well? Yeah, were they the ones done at the Wembley Empire Pool? Was it called? Was that? Actually, anybody who knows London or that era better than I do, that Wembley there, is that what became the conference centre or the arena? I'm not quite sure. Right, folks, I'm probably another 5 minutes and then I'm about done for tonight. It's the first one I've done of these since August, would you believe? I keep meaning to do more and life gets in the way in so many ways just lately. I did actually, I just want to address the fact that I did put a message out a couple of weeks ago saying that I'm not doing many videos at the moment, which is true. I just need to get the next few months out of the way. And then I'll be back into it. I'll be back launching right into it. But over the next few months, I'll probably be doing fewer videos than I normally do. That's just how it's got to be at the moment, I'm afraid. But if I can get through the next few months, then I'll be right back on track and full speed ahead. But I think just bear with me over the next few months because it's all going to be a little bit weird. Any last questions or comments? Get them through before we wrap up. I've enjoyed that World Cup tonight. That's been good. Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth, I think is a worthy winner. I think it probably is the best song on the album, isn't it? I think that's a fair comment. I do like the title track as well. I know there was a few people earlier on. Oh, thank you, Elijah. Wembley Arena. Thank you. I did wonder. Saying that they weren't too fussed about the title track. I like it. I like the little references to... I love the fact that he mentions Paul McCartney in the song. You know, at that time in 1973 when you think probably George hates Paul. You know, he was in one of those phases, probably. But they still, no matter how much they hated each other, I think they still loved each other as well, didn't they, I think? Bertold, will I talk about the new McCartney book? Do you mean McCartney legacy by that? If so, definitely yes. It's out soon. It's all been really quiet actually. I don't think Adrian is here, the author. I know he's popped up occasionally on some live streams. I don't think he's here tonight, but I wanted to ask him actually because I think that it's been really quiet on the promotion of that. I've not heard much. I've not seen it being advertised much. But McCartney Legacy should be out in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. 13th Beatle says, what will happen with the Lewis and Beatles book volume 2? Do you know, for the first time, I feel as though it's close. I feel as though it could be next year. And I've never, in the last 5 or 6 years, I've never once thought, I think it could be out next year. But now I feel as though it could be out next year. And I don't know, I don't think I've got anything particular concrete to go on with that. It just feels like it might be a bit more imminent. Spring Hill Jim says, do I like Marky Smith's band The Fall? Do you know, I don't know much of their stuff, but there's one song that I really like and I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'll tell you what, I'm going to open up my iTunes library and remind myself what that Fall song is that I really like. I got it on it was on a compilation CD that came with like a Mojo magazine or something a few years ago. I can't remember the blooming name of it now, but I'll come to it in a moment. I'll find it shortly. Yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you for your comments. Yeah, Mark Lewison has become the George R.R. Martin. Always waiting for the next book. I mean, I don't think anybody should underestimate the size of the task that he's got. I mean, I spent so much time and effort just focusing on what happened to the Beatles over a particular 2-hour period in one afternoon of the 9th of October 64 for a video that I made about a year ago. And I spent so much time focusing on those couple of hours, and I think, oh my God, Mark Lewison's got like a whole decade to cover. And I just don't know how he does it. I really don't. It's incredible. Still waiting for my iTunes library to load up to find that Fall song because my computer is so slow. Hey Ricardo, how you doing? Do you think the Beatles have chances to win Record of the Year, and will Paul, Ringo and Giles be there because Record of the Year award the producers? Maybe so. Is that at the Grammys, do you mean? Because of course as well the Mind Games box set's up for, it's like is it like a box set award or something, I think. So I think that's got to be with a great chance of winning that, because I've still never seen a box set like the Mind Games one. It is pretty incredible. The Fall. Come on. What is this song by The Fall? I'm nearly there. It is Lodestones. That's it. Lodestones. It was on a Mojo CD back in 2014. That's pretty much the only song I could sing along to of theirs. But I really like that song. Right, folks. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining me. We've had a good hour and a half. We've done a good World Cup, some good chat. I will be back. I will be back with a video on the Beatles 64 documentary that's out. Oh, it's next week, isn't it? Wow, next Friday. So I'm going to watch that, make lots of notes, and I'm going to come with my thoughts on that. Either next Friday or the weekend at the latest. So really looking forward to that. That's coming on Disney Plus. Presumably a lot of you are going to be watching that as well. So I hope you can join me for that. Other videos at the moment I don't know. It's like I say, it's going to be a weird few months. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. I've had a good night, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.